In May 2011, two high school friends and self-identifying film buffs saw the movie Thor together in theaters. These men promptly went their separate ways and mysteriously didn't communicate for a decade. Today, still obsessed with movies, they reunite as podcasters of fortune with the mission to tackle the movies and debates they missed out on for 10 years. On this podcast, they are always catching up. And without further ado, it's time for the latest episode of Catching Up with Aaron Daniel, and we have a lot to catch up with. I'm Dan McFadden.
Yes, an absolute insane amount. Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm sorry for the delay. This is definitely on me, not on Daniel, but real life in the holidays, as most of you know, can be a little bit time consuming and a little hectic, but we're together. Kind of, not in person for the first time. So,
but you can see our faces together for the first time.
This is going to be a new thing. So,
progress. This will be the best production value episode so far. So, things on the agenda for today's episode. We have a little movie from 2011 called Cowboys and Aliens to talk about, which I watched two weeks ago now. So now I'm working off vague memories again. And then we have Spider-Man: No Way Home and No Time to Die, the two biggest movies of the year, easily.
Is it? Is No Time to Die? I thought Venom might be up there.
No, No Time to Die, I'm pretty sure was number one, and Spider-Man's going to pass it. Gotcha. Maybe not before the end of the year, I don't know, but anyway. So okay, yeah. Let's get into the time machine first. Let's get into the DeLorean and go back to 2011, but also the 19th century.
I'm down. Let's go. Wait, okay. So are we just going to Back to the Future 3?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, Back to the Future Part 3. Yeah. All right, so Aaron, we have stepped out of our time machine. It is July 29th, 2011. Here's some entertainment headlines for this period. It was announced this week that Star Trek II had been pushed back from its original release date of June 29th, 2012. It would eventually come out, I believe, in 2013 and would be called Star Trek Into Darkness. But anyway, the movie that Paramount put in Star Trek's place instead was G.I. Joe 2. And it got a name change, which I don't think this name change worked in its favor. It went from being called G.I. Joe Strikes Back to G.I. Joe... G.I. Joe Cobra Strikes to G.I. Joe Retaliation.
I was very curious when you said that. I mean, like, are they just leaning right into the Star Wars? But I had no idea that it had a different name.
Yeah, neither did I. And I mean, like, Cobra's like the other G.I. Joe thing. I don't get why you wouldn't want that in your title.
I really don't think that they knew exactly what they were trying to do. And if G.I. Joe 2 does deserve a name, I think it's that The Rock can't save all franchises. G.I. Joe, The Rock can't save all franchises. So,
well, that was before he was the movie star.
It was right before. Had he done a Fast and the Furious movie at that point?
I think he had just
done 5.
Like just came off it.
Okay,
it was right in that same.
I also know that this is like right before Channing Tatum blew up as well. Yeah.
But they had to do research to include him.
Well, I mean, they
killed more material
in the first like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but they they went to the effort to include him more because he was in the process of. I think this was post 21 Jump Street, I believe.
Because he had 21 Jump Street and Magic Mike all hit. It was 2012 when all that hit.
I think so.
Okay.
So yeah, this would have came out in 2012. So yeah, this was part of him blowing up. But yeah, I do remember the headlines of reshoots to include more of Channing Tatum, who just gets killed off. Another headline from that week: Bryan Cranston was announced as having pulled out of the movie Gangster Squad due to a scheduling conflict with a little movie called Argo. Argo I think it was a good choice. Argo went on to win Best Picture. So.
Man, it's crazy looking at that cast for Gangster Squad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know we've talked about it briefly on one episode before, but they also had that trailer that they had to pull where everybody got shot in the movie theater.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
They had that trailer going, and then that ended up getting pulled after the Dark Knight Rises incident.
Oh wow. Wow, okay. That's definitely that
random things that I remember about bad movies. So,
but yeah, the cast, the director who directed Zombieland, he's like, oh yeah, this is surefire.
Josh Brolin, Emma Stone,
Ryan Gosling,
Sean Penn.
Yeah, and then it's just like, I can't tell you a thing about it.
That's a lead in to this film.
Oh yeah. I got yes, exactly.
Okay.
I got one more news.
All right.
It was reported that Rawson Thurber, writer director of Dodgeball, had been hired to do a rewrite of an adaptation of the Umbrella Academy. That his version never saw the light of day.
No.
It became a Netflix TV show that I believe is getting a third season.
I believe so. I have only watched the first, so.
But Mr. Thurber, he has gone on to write and direct Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. And Red Notice with The Rock and everyone else. So
okay.
So we did not get Umbrella Academy from him, but we got.
So what you're saying is that he peaked with Dodgeball.
I've never seen Dodgeball, so I'm going to take your word for it.
What? Man, okay, so Dodgeball had come up at this point, so it can't be a catching up episode. But watch Dodgeball.
Okay. All right. So, but yes, on the subject of movies that have all of the creative and acting talent that should make for a good movie, plus just an incredible concept. A movie called Cowboys and Aliens that came out July 29th, 2011. Just like rattling off who all is involved in this movie. It's directed by Jon Favreau, who has just come off of doing the first two Iron Man movies, which are huge. The 2010 is when Iron Man 2 came out. You got a lot of people in the writing department on this. There's like 5 people on the screenplay. You got like Damon Lindelof, who is just coming off of Lost. Which
as soon as I saw Damon Lindelof's name, like at the beginning of the credits, I was just, all I could think about was that this movie immediately you could toss a coin whether or not it's going to be good or not. you got a 50-50 chance with that guy.
But still, he's just come off Lost, which regardless of your opinions on that show, that was the show of the 2000s, like far and away. You got Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, who combined with Damon Lindelof did the first Star Trek movie, which was huge at the time. So you got creative wise a lot of the people who were driving the buzz or in the genre department at that time.
I'm horrible at this. I cannot remember her name, but the casting director of this film is the casting director for all of the MCU films.
Really?
Yes. So I cannot remember her name, but watching it with Catherine, she pointed that out to me. And I thought that was very interesting, considering the cast that we have in this movie.
Well, you got Daniel Craig, who is at the time the new James Bond. He's had 2 Bond movies by this point. You got Harrison Ford, who is arguably, the biggest actor, ever. Can you?
Maybe.
I mean,
for us. with this genre, there's that bit in Fanboys where Harrison Ford's the greatest actor ever. It's like he's never made a bad movie. It's Indiana Jones, he's Han Solo, he's Decker, but I love Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So I mean, just the premise of this movie alone, I'm just like, you know what you're getting into, and I feel like this movie completely delivers on that concept, but it is such a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Where I saw it one time, I remember enjoying it. When you told me that it was on Peacock, we watched it, and just seeing the score that it has, like it's got like a 40% critic score or whatever else, and audience score as well, and that just blows my mind. Because I mean, this is a perfectly like passable, fun movie. It's not anything that I'm necessarily gonna be like, I need to go watch this again. I mean, I haven't watched it in 10 years, but I don't understand the 40% rating that it has.
Well, I don't think it's a 40% movie, but the reaction you had to Super 8, it was like, oh, I just kind of watched it and it didn't really stick with me. Yeah. I had that reaction with this.
Oh, that's completely acceptable, because it's definitely one of those movies. I mean, it's not a bad way to spend 2 hours, but it's just, you get what the title says. I mean, that's all this movie is.
And this is based off of like a very obscure comic book that I've never read. Have you?
Which the movie is 100 times better than the comic book, by the way. So
you have read it.
Yes. The one thing, because I know with the Super 8 episode, it was very difficult to have that conversation with you and I, because I was kind of checked out. I just want to say that there were a lot of actors in this movie that I forgot were in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I forgot Sam Rockwell was in this movie, which makes sense because, like you said, he's coming off of Iron Man 2, working with Fargo. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He plays Harrison Ford's son. He's about to be the Riddler.
Yeah. Paul Dano.
Yes, I forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah. And a year later he'd be in Looper. So he was having a moment. Olivia Wilde was having a moment. The female lead.
Was this before Tron hit?
No, Tron was 2010.
Okay, so this was after. Gotcha.
Yeah, so this was her peak, really, when it came to movies. She had Tron one year and then Cowboys and Aliens the next. So like there was so much going for this. There was so much going for this movie. Ron Howard is a producer.
Yes.
Ron Howard.
Spielberg's an executive producer on this as well.
Is he? Okay, I missed that.
But is this one more thing that I want to say? The first initial scene where we see the aliens come in and they're wrecking the town.
Yeah.
I looked over at Catherine and I just said, it's so nice to see like a set and actual explosions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I was like, this was actually, filmed. A lot of this stuff actually happened. It wasn't all just CGI.
Oh yeah. No, I honestly think that scene's the best one in the movie.
I'd agree.
Like it's terrifying. It's well shot. There's tension. I think one of the best things about the movie is like the sound of the alien fighters, whatever you want to call them. I really thought the sound design on that was really good. But that's yeah. But I think it's really interesting that this came out the same summer as Super 8, and they're two very similar genre combining movies. You're watching Cowboys and Aliens, and this could just be a Western. There's a plot here that could just be a normal Western, and then the aliens come crashing. The aliens show up.
I will say this, since we're talking about, a genre film and then an alien shows up, like you really enjoyed Super 8.
Yeah.
Where it sounds like we're both fairly indifferent to Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah.
But I think the best genre film where an alien shows up has to be Predator.
Okay. I've only seen that once.
Okay, the original starts off like you're just prototypical '80s action film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got Carl Weathers, you've got Jesse Ventura, you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're wrecking shop in the jungle. Then an alien shows up, and you know, then you have your movie. But with Cowboys and Aliens, I also enjoyed the set piece with the ship turned over. I thought that was see how forgettable this movie is for Daniel. Is like he's having to think about this, and it's like really the first time that we actually get to see the alien is in this. The alien reminded me of it was bothering me. I couldn't place it at the time, but it looked like the face. I'm sure you haven't seen this movie, but the bugs in the mist, like that's all I could think of. I was like, where have I seen it? The design of that first alien that you see seriously looks like one of those. And then there's all those overhead shots as well, where Daniel Craig's looking up at the alien, and all I could think about was Cloverfield.
Okay.
That shot when you know the alien's there.
They look like they look like crabs to me.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what they are. I don't know. It's just it's a very forgettable movie, and it's why, you know, 10 years later people really aren't talking about it, but they're still talking about, you know, other things that came out 10 years ago. And I don't know. Is this also the movie?
My main thing with it is like a movie called Cowboys and Aliens should inherently be fun. And pretty much through this whole movie, I was waiting to feel the sense of I'm having fun watching this, and that never really came.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. It's a little too serious, I guess. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily lean into how absurd it is. It kind of sticks with that Western trope.
It's playing it straight. It's playing it straight, which I get why you want to do that, but at some point you need to lampshade what's happening. I like that they call the aliens demons. I like that because they wouldn't know that the term aliens even exists at that point. I'm not sure. So
and then on the production side, is this the movie that broke Favreau for a little while?
You asked this last time we talked.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, he
I know Iron Man 2 didn't necessarily go the way that he wanted it to.
Yeah.
And then this, and it wasn't Chef one of his next films?
Yeah, it came out a couple of years later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just there's never. It just wasn't fun, and I think when you got a cast like this, the premise you got, it just never elevated itself.
Okay.
It's
now
also
with this,
dark.
This was another conversation that I had. Was we had this amazing cast and just very talented actors, and then you have this movie and it's very paint by numbers. And you know that they're elevating the material because of who they are and how talented they are.
Yeah.
And we think it's so forgettable. Could you imagine this with just like a normal cast, like where it's not like all of these names of people that we revere? And like,
well,
just how much
thing, like if it had just a normal B-list, C-list cast, I probably wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
So but hey, this movie has Toby Huss, who plays the drunk guy who's about to take a dump in the creek or whatever, and then he gets blown up, which that was legitimately funny. That whole moment, that was great.
He's the dad in Halloween, the 2018 Halloween film.
He's Artie from Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that. That's amazing. So,
well, did you ever watch *Halt and Catch Fire*?
No.
On AMC with well, you should watch that. I think you'd really like it.
What year did it come out? Because we might have to for this show.
It came out. I believe the first season was when I was in grad school, which was 2014. So
okay.
It was on.
Speaking of first seasons, real quick, that just brought up a note. So we're going to be talking about season 1 of Game of Thrones eventually on this show.
But before that, we're doing season 1 of Person of Interest. Have you started
Yes.
Person of Interest yet?
Yes, but
Okay.
there are 2 beats in this movie that are like directly from the first season of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So Daenerys, Emily Clark's character, spoiler alert for Daniel, I'm sorry. At the end of the first season, she goes into a fire and comes out of it.
Okay.
And so that happens with Olivia Wilde. And then at the end with the the main scarred alien, that's the other thing. There's not like a big like bad to this. There's not like a face that you can put with it.
Well, that's kind of an issue that was kind of plagued that era. Like, a year later you get Avengers, and then you have the Chitauri, but it's just.
But you had Loki.
Yeah, but you had Loki.
I mean, but the disposable army is a thing. But I mean, there wasn't your main antagonist. It was just like it's this group. And I don't know if that was a reason I didn't necessarily care. I mean, it works in Independence Day, but not necessarily.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could kind of point to the disfigured one that Daniel Craig's character.
Yes, but his death getting taken out by the melted gold. It's another big death in the first season of Game of Thrones.
Really?
So I think that this is funny. Yes.
Okay.
So I think that this is funny that this movie comes out just a couple months before we get that first season of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And that was another, I'm getting ready. I'm taking notes for this. Okay. And like that popped into my head. So
another small role in this, Abigail Spencer plays Daniel Craig's wife, just love interest. They never really state
the horror
or that.
Yes.
I love Abigail Spencer.
What else is she in? Is she from Lost?
No. Did you see? Did you watch Timeless on NBC?
No.
Oh, this.
I don't watch network television.
This was the best one of the better network television shows. 2 seasons, a time travel adventure comedy, starring Matt Lanter, who's the voice of Anakin Skywalker on the Clone Wars.
Okay. There was one more person that I forgot was in this. Walter Goggins.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I forgot he was in this movie, and I absolutely love him. So
this is one of those movies where like, oh wow, that person.
Yeah.
Huh. Right before they took off. Like I don't know when Justified came on, because I know that was like his big thing.
I like even with that, I feel like he's just a great character actor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's necessarily had that like I'm a main leading guy, but every time I see him, I absolutely am entertained. And I know that we've been crapping on this movie, talking about, but it's not bad. It's just, I mean, like there are worse ways to spend 2 hours. And as far as like a lot of the movies that we've discussed for 2011, I feel this is like one of the ones that I would put higher as far as like on the rewatch scale.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of movies from 2011 that I'm just like, I'm gonna watch this again. So
just like Super 8, people are kidnapped by the aliens, and it's never really said why. Like,
yes, that's another problem with it.
Like, okay, there's all these people that hooked up to machines.
Are they experimenting? What are they doing?
Training them for resources. It's never. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect these Western characters to be able to rise up to the level that the aliens are operating on technologically, and them to be able to figure it out. But yeah, it's never really explained. The Native American characters just kind of like arrive, like just show up after the first or second battle sequence, and then they're just part of it.
Of course. It's got to be Cowboys and Aliens, or Cowboys and Indians versus Aliens.
Yeah, but like they showed up in a way that where I had to rewind it multiple times to like, wait, were they there the entire time?
They kidnapped him, man.
They just showed up.
They took him in.
So it was like they were just there, and then the Olivia Wilde dies and gets thrown in the fire. So,
Yes, it's a good thing that they threw her in the fire too. Otherwise, she wouldn't be back. So just have to move this, the plot forward. It's a movie. Doesn't have to make sense.
I'm pretty sure like the events of this movie like take place in like a week, maybe.
I don't know. Why'd they kill the cows?
Killed. I don't even remember killing the cows.
You were just talking about that scene.
I was
Yes.
killing the.
He's in the river. He's getting ready to take a dump.
Oh, well, I wasn't talking about. I was just talking.
Yeah, but like, why? Why'd they just blow up all the cows?
I don't know.
Why are they kidnapping people? Why are they blowing up livestock? I guess it's just an alien trope. You go watch Mars Attacks. The movie starts with them setting cows on fire.
Well, I think it's like this takes place in a very short amount of time. Daniel Craig's character is obviously affected by Abigail Spencer's character, and then she dies. He finds out that she dies, but flash forward a couple days, and he's macking on Olivia Wilde's character. So,
Well, I mean, like, dude, she's dead, man. Nothing's gonna bring her back. Olivia Wilde looks nice. Oh, this was another thing. So on the catching up thing, I'm finally watching Community.
Finally? Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm finally watching Community, and there's the debate episode where the guy's in the wheelchair and he's losing to the lead. He's losing to Jeff Winger.
Yeah.
It's like, is man good? Is man evil?
Yeah.
He throws himself off of his chair. He's flying through the air, and Jeff catches him. He's like, he hates me, but he caught me. Man is good. And then Allison Brie kisses him, and he drops him. It's like, he is horny, so he dropped him. Man is evil. And that is exactly what happens with Daniel Craig's his weapon, his alien weapon. He can't take it off, but as soon as Olivia Wilde kisses him, he drops it. And that's all I could think about too. It's just like, man is horny, so he drops it. Man is evil. So
that's good. I'd forgotten about that moment, so I'm glad you. Yeah, that was hilarious. So like, there's like only like 4 or 5 like funny moments in that, and that's one of them.
There's
one thing I think I did notice was when the alien ship is launching and they blow it up.
Yeah,
it sounds kind of like the Slave One Sonic bombs from Attack of the Clones, a little bit, which again goes back into Star Wars, where I think this movie was the training ground for Jon Favreau to setting up Mandalorian 10 years later.
Oh, I wouldn't say that at all. If anything, it was just like him realizing that studio interference is horrible, how he doesn't want to deal with it.
Well, I'm talking about the westernness of it.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about, because the Mandalorian is very much a western, and this was him getting that experience.
I guess so, but with that, I just think it's, well, also we were talking about how there's not a lot of funny moments in this, him realizing that there has to be a break in the seriousness, which thankfully is a thing that happens in The Mandalorian fairly often. So
yeah. So give me what is your grade for Cowboys and Aliens 10 years later? C-. C-.
Yeah, it's definitely not a failing grade like Rotten Tomatoes has it at, but maybe in another 10 years I'll visit this movie again, because I haven't seen this movie since the movie theater.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm actually going to be more generous than you. I'll just give it a straight C.
Okay.
So, which we haven't really talked about Daniel Craig at all, because he's actually, I think he's made for this role. He's got that natural rugged look. He the silent man with no name kind of thing.
I would watch a straight Daniel Craig Western film.
Yeah. Oh, so what do you think just about the overall character arcs? Because like there's clear beginning and ends to these arcs, but I don't think the ends are earned, specifically with Harrison Ford's character. Like at the beginning, he's a guy who's willing to almost tear Toby Huss's character in two with horses, over to get information about his son. And at the he's like a Western mob boss at this point. I don't know.
No, he's not a Western mob boss. He's just a cattle wrangler who's got a dumbass kid.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those situations too where you don't. I mean, that's your livelihood that just went away. It's this guy that's never worked for you before. You have to kind of set a message. I mean, at that point in time, it's that Western trope. You're living off your reputation, and you can't have people doing that to you. So I feel like that makes sense. Well,
I get the sense that he was like a kingpin type character. That's what
I think you're leaning a little too far into that. I don't think he had any like nefarious roots by any means.
Okay.
And the reason that he's going after Daniel Craig is because Daniel Craig robbed the coach that his money was on.
Okay.
It's not any of those things where it's just like it's dirty money, or like he's doing it straight, but he's also obviously he's a rich and powerful man at that point. So,
and by the end of the movie, he's like co-sheriff. That's kind of what it felt like, or mayor.
Well, I mean, like they say at the time that the sheriff wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for him. So like he's the one who. They said it was supposed to be a mining town. They're pretty much like living off the cattle thing, and he's obviously like the head honcho of the area. But now that the gold's coming in, I don't know. The bit with the adopted son was a bit much for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, here's that tired trope. It's like, but
then you have Sam Rockwell going from this movie should have an alternate title. It's like Sam Rockwell's No Good, Dirty, Rotten Day. Like nothing good happened to Sam Rockwell.
He gets the kill shot, man. He gets the one kill shot. So you think he'd be funnier as well?
Yeah.
In this?
Yeah.
And
this might be the most like serious role that I've seen him in. Oh, there's Moon. So yeah, like I'm so used to him, being the lighthearted character. So this was a departure from it.
You ever see The Green Mile?
Not all the way through, no. I didn't know he was in that. So
yeah, 3 Billboards.
Yes, I did see that.
Okay.
I forgot he was in it. So...
He won the Academy Award for that, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he won it for Vice because he played George Bush, which I would not have given him the award for that.
Did you see it?
Vice, yeah. Before we move on from Cowboys Aliens, so this might be the best thing that came out of Cowboys and Aliens. So this is when at Comic-Con the year before for Cowboys and Aliens, Hall H, where they brought out Harrison Ford for his first ever appearance at Comic-Con.
And no panel at Comic-Con would be complete. It's his first time here. Make him feel welcome. Harrison Ford.
question is, when you were growing up like Belfry Theater, did you ever see any of this in your future?
No. I had ambitions to be, I just wanted to make a living as an actor. I didn't know about this.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, anyway, that was his very first appearance at Comic-Con. In the handcuffs, where I don't know if you remember this, was earlier that day in 2010 at Comic-Con. There was a stabbing accident in Hall H between two people over a dispute over a seat in Hall H.
Have you ever been to Comic-Con?
No, I haven't. So
All H is insane.
yeah.
Insane. Like I went in 2019. The lines for that thing, absolutely insane. They pay people to wait in line the whole day so that they can get there.
So
people put out like Craigslist ads to be like, hey, I will pay you money, you stay here the entire time. And then yeah.
But
when I was
like,
there was when they announced Top Gun. They had the Top Gun Maverick trailer.
Yeah.
And then Terminator Dark Fate was the other one. So
But yeah, there was a stabbing accident. The person who did the stabbing got arrested. So to play off that, when they brought out Harrison Ford, they had him in handcuffs to play it.
Good stuff.
No, Harrison Ford, he's always had this, he has a distance from the adoration that people like us have for him. But you see in that video where he's really taken aback by the love and support people are giving him in that hall, and he's at a loss for words, and it's kind of moving.
For him, I'm sure it's also a lot like Alec Guinness was with Star Wars, where you have this portfolio of work that you're really, proud of, and these other parts and roles that you've done. But everything that you've done, everybody just wants to talk about Star Wars or Indiana Jones. Because I mean, like, I would imagine that he would rather talk about Blade Runner if we're going to be talking about any of his sci-fi work than he would, talking about playing Indiana Jones or So,
but he's been to Comic-Con multiple times since then for like Ender's Game, also Blade Runner, the sequel. But that was the first time, and he's generally like taken aback by the reception he gets, and it's really a special moment. I think that's actually the most important thing that came out of Cowboys and Aliens was that moment for Harrison Ford.